مساء الخير جميعا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته من كنار تي في. صوت العرب من كندا. حلقة جديدة من برنامج قضايا كندية، وزي ما قلنا لكم هذه الحلقات مخصصة للكلام عن انتخابات البلدية والمقابلات مع مرشحي البلديات من مناطق مختلفة، بالذات من المقاطعات التي تمر في انتخابات. اليوم حديثنا مع الأستاذ محمد كامل عن الوورد 6 أو المنطقة 6 من ميسيساغا. Mr. Mohamed Kamel, welcome to CanAr TV. How are you doing tonight?
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much for inviting me in this interview. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so Mr. Mohamed Kamel, I just mentioned to our audience, you're running for a city councillor from
Right.
Ward 6 in Mississauga.
Right.
And Mississauga is very known of having like a huge number of Arabs and Muslims in the city itself, specifically around the city center and the areas Mississauga East as well.
Right.
So it's very important to have representatives for in the city council. So before we start talking politics, let's just tell us a little bit about yourself and why would you what did what you know like what made you think that you want to run for this post?
Thank you, Brother Hasham. It's a very good question and basic question, actually. Um, I'm participating in the politics for the last many years.
Mhm.
I supported two times the sitting MPP, Natalia Kosandova,
Mhm.
in the Mississauga City Center. And I was extensively involved in the politics.
Mhm.
And I was engaged with the Muslim community and I connected Muslim community with the PC party. Normally, you know,
Yeah.
our Muslim community is not very comfortable with the PC or conservative, but I tried to make a bridge between the Muslim community and the PC party. And Alhamdulillah, now Muslims are feeling much better and comfortable working with the Ontario PC party. So I played my role within the city of Mississauga, and that's why and the second thing is I did my master's in international relations.
Mhm.
So
Good.
I learned politics, current affairs, international politics, international business, and that was my actually interest from this very beginning.
Mhm.
So when I was in back home, like 20 years back, I was working in the bank, and I used to take the interest in the officers association and all kind of politics there, just to learn and to resolve the issues within the management. So when I came here, I find out that we as a Muslim are far behind in the mainstream politics. We
Mhm.
are still like engaged or involved in the back home politics. Like
Yeah.
our kids are studying here, our kids future is here, but we are not like having the participation or the percentage of the politics which we supposed to have. Like all,
Mhm.
we have a large number of Muslims living in Mississauga in different wards, but unfortunately we are not getting our right share. So in Mississauga, like especially in Ward 6, is a very neglected ward.
Mhm.
I'm living in this ward for the last 15 years, never met with my existing counselor. And
Oh.
as a resident and as a taxpayer and as a political activist, I was not happy. And many people, they were complaining, including myself, about many facilities which supposed to be better, like the
Mhm.
security and the parks, the roads, the bridges, infrastructure, and rising property tax every year.
Mhm.
Nobody's talking about that. So
Mhm.
since I had a very good uh, political background. So I decided to run this time because I personally feel that we as a Muslim should have the representation in the city hall, because
Mhm.
you know there are lots of issues which as a Muslim, a Canadian immigrant, we can address better, because there are issues with the mosque, the organization, with the people, and they don't know how to approach the for the counselor or the city for their day-to-day problems or issues. So many people, they are not happy with the garbage or snow removal, or one of my friend or many friends complained that their car has been stolen from the driveway and nobody
Yeah.
is taking
Mhm.
care. It's a very common problem in Mississauga in all the wards, including
Mhm.
Ward 6.
Yeah.
So I feel that if I can run as a counselor, I can provide, I can just like I play my role with like Muslim population within the to connect with the Ontario government, so I can be a better choice for the all the residents living in Ward 6, including Muslim.
Mhm.
So that's why I decided to run this time, because this is the time, this is the requirement of the time, I believe.
Yeah. So, and just to give people a sense of it, so this is the Ward 6, right on
Right,
Mississauga. Yeah. So this is the area, and it's actually not like it runs from East Credit and Britannia Road, which is
right,
also heavily populated, as you can see,
right.
and it's a wide area and heavily populated. Um, uh, uh, like when I was shocked when you said that it's neglected and you haven't even seen your counselor for the whole time that you've been there. That is actually weird.
Yeah.
uh, you know um, yeah, so that's for anyone who wants to know where this is actually Ward 6, where Mr. Mohamed Kamel is running now. You mentioned something, it's very interesting, because I'm going to ask you about the services, in and what are you planning, or what are you thinking of improving for the services. But one of the things you mentioned is when you talk about crime, specifically the you said about car crime, but there's a lot of thievery and robbery happening nowadays everywhere in Canada, including
Yes.
Saga, which was very very rare to see something like that. And uh, I've seen also a lot of people who are talking about this, like they report to the police, and the police is like, okay, it's just a stolen car. You can just talk to your insurance. I've literally said people that told me this thing, like they called the police, they waited for a long time for them to come and inspect, and they tell them like, do you think we only have you? There's a lot of cases. Talk to your insurance. That is exactly what they told them.
Yes.
And since the police department are something that is actually funded by the cities, by the municipalities, and that's something that a lot of people do not understand, that it's really important to elect someone to raise these things, because the police services are overwhelmed. I'm not saying that they're not doing this because they're bad, but they're really overwhelmed, and they're under underfunded,
Yes.
and in some cases, and they are also how can I say that? Like they're also we've seen a lot of them, a lot of like the couple of years ago when there was this Muslim elder man who was having mental issues,
Yes.
and they come. I think his name is Ijaz, and
Yes.
they came to
Chaudhary.
yes, and they came to his house and he just shot just because he was having a knife, and
Six bullets. Six
yeah,
bullets.
exactly, and that is also undereducated, and they don't deal with it. So what do you think about that, and how could we actually do this? What could the city of Mississauga do
Yeah.
to improve? I know city of Mississauga is part of the Peel region, which is Peel Police, but the city of Mississauga is the biggest funder for the whole. repeal services. So what do you think that we can improve specifically when it comes to policing?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and lots of people they have the question this in their mind because we, the city, the residents of Mississauga, we are paying higher taxes, like to this city, and is part of that portion of the taxes is going towards the police. So basically, we are the one, or you are the one who are paying taxes, and is ultimately is going to the police. So basically, they should be working for us, and we should feel safe and secure because as a taxpayer. But unfortunately, if you will ask any single resident of Mississauga, no matter is old or young, man or woman, they will tell you that they are not feeling safe. So this kind of Canada, we were never imagine, or this kind of city of Mississauga we used to live. It was very peaceful. It was very you can
Yeah.
go in the day or night, even you leave the door open, there was no issue. But now you can see people, they are very much worried while they are sleeping that their car, once they will wake up in the morning, their car would be gone. So they are buying different kind of locks to lock their car, and the wheels, and this kind of things. And the thing is, yes, we know that crimes happen, but after the crime, what kind of like measures or action is being taken by the police, that is more important. It is very frustrated. It unfortunately most of the time, 99% I would say, they have no clue where your car or my car has gone. So they just come, write a report and hand it over to you, and ultimately you have to forward it to the insurance company, and they will pay you according to the market value. This is not the solution, you know like this kind of job can be done by their own estimator or someone. You just report and they will come, okay, your car has been stolen, and what car, what model, and how many kilometer, and this and that. That's not the policing. Policing means you, it should not happen next time in the area. It's
Mhm.
happening every day. And in as a counselor, when I will be elected, I will definitely raise this issue in the city hall, that this process, or this type of services is unacceptable. City must take up this issue with the provincial level.
Mhm.
If there is more fund required for the police to increase the strength, yes, there should be more funding should be provided. But since we are already paying higher taxes, so in my opinion, this needs to be improved, and needs to be improved ASAP, because people are not feeling safe. And I will definitely also recommend that in the police there should be a diversity also. As you mentioned, that brother Ajaz Chaudhary, who was killed or murdered, in my opinion, would not have been murdered if there was a person in the police who could have speak his language, understand his mental status, talk to him his language, and make the thing better. But since there was not a single person in the police who could have understand his language, and who could not understand what is the problem, they just saw a small knife, butter knife or something, and they shoot 6 times that poor person, and nothing happened. So this kind of thing we are facing, in my opinion. So uh, as a resident, as a Canadian resident, immigrant, I feel that since there is a this city is diverse city, all people from all over the world living in this city. So why not there is a diversity in the city hall, Why not there's a diversity in the police? Why not there's a diversity in the medical system? Why not there's a diversity in the firefighters, in the paramedics, so many other departments? I can hardly see a Canadian immigrant in these departments.
Mhm. Of course, just before we leave, because all the time they say that police services and health are understaffed and all this thing, but I believe that uh, we can do, as you said, we can do better to staff these with the proper people. Now, the next second thing that I want to talk about as well is the city of Mississauga is growing bigger and bigger, and we are having more a lot of problems now in traffic and in our transportation services, and like now they're planning on building the Ontario line, and there's a lot of difficulties happening, and you know we're having a big problem when it comes to traffic slash transportation planning, right?
Right,
And during COVID they said that the transportation uh, the Mississauga transportation was my way. It's hit hard, and there's a lot of people quit, but now things are getting back to normal, but we still have the transportation problems, and the traffic is getting worse and worse, and there's no better planning. Although the city of Mississauga is like, if you compare it to other cities in Ontario, is pretty new. There's a lot of places who are just built like in the last couple of decades. So why is it that happening, and how do you think we can improve that? Like streets, traffic, transportation. How do you think that could be solved?
it's a very good question and very important question, I would say, because we are using the roads and streets and transportation to go and come back from our work or to drop our kids to the school or the college or universities. So transportation is the basic and important requirement for all kind of services. So in I don't know if people know that in past 25 years, the population of the Mississauga has been doubled.
Yeah.
Right now, we are, I believe, the population of Mississauga is almost more than 800,000 people, and there are every day people are growing and growing. And since after the government announced influx of the students, there are thousands of students are coming, and they are living in the basement of different people. There, so when they are living in the basement, like let's suppose if I have a house and I'm living with my family. So let's suppose I'm renting my basement, and there are four people also living. Uh, on the record, I own the house, but there are another four people are living, and maybe two people are having their own car. So these kind of problem we are facing right now. And the second thing is, in my opinion, the new drivers mostly they are getting license without proper education, so they are driving very recklessly. They, most of them, they don't know the rules, regulations, and how to drive. So there are lots of accidents happening, lots of traffic problems happening because of the influx of the many people. And the transportation system is not as efficient as it's supposed to be. uh, I don't know if people know that the Mississauga is the third largest city of
Yeah.
Ontario
Yeah.
and sixth largest city of Canada. So, but the transport system is like look like a third world country, I would say. If I want to go from point A to point B, if I can reach there in 15 minutes by my car, it will take more than 1 hour. So that means the city of Mississauga transportation system is not efficient. So I don't have option but to buy a car, although I could have gone by the bus. But since I cannot go late to my work, so I have to buy a car. So if everybody is driving their own car and one people is driving their car, so you can imagine, and on the top of that, thousands of people are coming in Mississauga, because there's a lots of jobs there. So
Mhm.
all these kind of things are creating more and more traffic problem. And I don't see that the city of Mississauga is planning to overcome this issue, and this situation or this issue is growing bigger and bigger. So in my opinion, they should look into the matter, the city of Mississauga, and adopt a better pattern, or something to provide a smooth, faster, reliable public transportation system. So people should not rely on their own transportation like car or something, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, and since we're talking about this, owning more cars is more carbon in the air, which means more damage to the environment, right?
Yes.
And speaking of which, because environment is a very important part, and a lot of people say like, how does the city, can help with the environment? But it's first of all, one of them is improving the public transportation, so people will rely on them more on shared
Yes.
transportation, making less cars and less damage to the environment. And the other thing is, what I'm seeing is like, I'm seeing a lot of areas in Mississauga that were like parks and all of that. They're being like the one in Port Credit. They're being demolished and they're building high-rise buildings.
Yes.
Those places are actually like natural places that people were going to smell, like, to have, oh sorry, to breathe like clean air and all of that stuff, or take their
Yes.
kids to play in places like, uh, how does this be allowed? Like, how something like this couldn't we have like the air rights law in Ontario, and a lot of times they build high-rise building higher than any place else without the consent of the people who are living in that area. They're demolishing parks to building. Like, all of this is really, really damaging to the environment. How could we tackle that?
Yeah, it's a very concerning for many people who believe in clean air, clean environment, less carbon. This kind of industrialization or urbanization is creating lots of problems because, as I said, the city is allowing the high-rise buildings and demolishing the heritage buildings, and especially the port credit area, but at the same time they are not providing the the transportation which needs uh, for the people to go to their work. So if you build more high rise building, that means there will be a more influx of the people here in the future, and there will be less trees, less parks, and
More
lots of
cars as
problems,
well.
more garbage, more
And more
garbage,
cars and more cars.
more cars. So in my opinion, there is a gap between the urbanization and providing the clean environment and better services. So
Mhm.
if, like as I said, I'm not the counselor yet, but if I will be elected, I will definitely look into this matter. I will raise these issues. I will raise my concerns in the city hall, and definitely will try to improve all this situation. Right now, people who elected one time as a counselor, you normally don't never meet with them, and they are being re-elected automatically. So I don't know what is going on, and
I,
there is no accountability.
I honestly, I'm living in this area since 2015. I've never met my counselor. I don't know his or her name, to be honest with you. And
I
I've
never
never
met.
seen I've
Yes.
never seen them Like I see the MPs and the MPPs sending us flyers to our apartments, so we know who they are. But
Right.
I don't know who my counselor is, because I've never seen anything that tells me where he is or how we contact them for our problems. So you're right. I mean, like, I think also this is one of the things, like how to communicate with your constituents, because we don't know
So
them.
the second thing is, I what I feel that as a MPP, as a MPP or MP, you like, let's suppose if I have been elected as an MPP or as an MP, my tenure would be 2 time or maybe 3 time, and then I will be kicked out by my voters, and
Yeah.
then some other person will come, and he or she will try to work better than me, so he can be elected and he can work better, so people can re-elect him. But this is not happening in the city. Once someone is elected,
It's like
he
a
or
lifetime.
she he or she is controlling that area, and I know people are scared. Like if I go to the mosque and ask them that can I introduce myself, they think twice because they think that what the existing counselor will think. So I can feel that. They are not saying that, but I can feel that because
Mhm.
they know that they have uh, they will might face the some kind of consequences if new person is coming in the riding and trying to replace him or her. So that kind of issues we are facing. In my opinion, I said many times to the Ontario government, recommended, and I would recommend again from this platform that that there should be uh, a law in the Ontario by tabled by the Ontario government that if one councillor elected 2 time or 3 time, he or she should not be allowed to run again. There should be a limit. Like otherwise, if I will be elected as a councillor, I will retire at the age of 80, without
Yeah.
doing anything. So there is no accountability at this moment.
Mhm. Uh, Also, there's something that's also in the minds of everybody right now. Specifically after the COVID and the economy that we're facing, the recession and all, is it's talking about zoning and housing, specifically when it comes to affordable housing. Like I live in the city of Mississauga, and I remember when we came in first here. I mean, if you want affordable housing for something, you were on list for 3 5 years maximum, depending on which area. But now it's like 12 years. So I mean, like, affordable housing is not affordable. Even applying for an affordable housing, it's not affordable anymore. Nobody can wait for 12 years to get an affordable housing. And for a city, you know, the city of Mississauga have a lot of resources, and as we said, it's a rich city, and it's the biggest contributor in the Peel region, and we cannot give affordable housing to people. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And when you think about it, like I'm not a politician, but when you think about it from a logical point of view, it shouldn't be that way. What do you have in mind
Yes,
to
it's
resolve this
a
issue?
very good question and very, lots of people are showing their concern because, as you know, in this economy after the COVID, many people they lost their job or their business is going down or closing down because of the changing environment, like thousands and thousands of people ordering online through Amazon, buying online, or ordering through big stores like Walmart or Costco. So you can imagine the small business is closing down, and people, more and more people are coming on the roads. I'm going door knocking every day, and trust me, I have seen so many notices on the door of the low income, like the poor people's apartment, evacuation orders. So those people who used to pay their rent, they are not able to pay their rent, and they are going homeless or going to the shelter. So imagine people who has a good house, good job, and now he's on the road and he has a family. So
mm,
many people maybe will not be able to return to their work. So there will be, I am afraid that there will be increase of the crime also. And the second thing is many people who are living even below poverty, and they are not able to get the affordable housing. I seen yesterday. I seen one lady. She has four kids, and she's living in a apartment, and she's paying maybe 1,800, I think. And she said that all my money is going in the rent. So I'm getting the food from the food bank, and I don't know how long it will continue. So this kind of situation people are facing. So in my opinion, there is lots of efforts, lots of practical things needs to be done, and people should who those people who deserve the low income housing, they should get at least 3 to 4 years. There's right now, as you said, the maximum waiting time may be for 12 or 13 years. So that's, we need, let's suppose I need the medicine today, I need the doctor today, and you are telling me that I will get the doctor after 1 month or 2 months. I will die by that time.
mm,
So if someone's son or daughter is 1 year old, when he or she become 12 years old, then they will get the housing. What kind of system is this? So in my opinion, there's lots of things to be done. If I will be elected, I will definitely raise this issue, and I will definitely work for the people who are suffering the most, because I'm living in this riding for the last 15 years, and I'm working grassroots level, and so I
mm.
know the issues, and I know how to raise this issue. And if I'll be elected, I will be a very strong voice of my people living in Ward 6.
Uh, you mentioned something important also about taxes. We pay really high taxes in the city
Yes.
of Mississauga, but we're not getting as much. So, okay, well, people are afraid of raising the taxes, and um, I don't. My point now is not about raising taxes only, but would we get the real service for the taxes that we pay or not? What is your thoughts? I mean, you just mentioned something about, for
Yes.
example, the transportation, all that stuff,
So, yeah,
but
it's a very good question. And as we were discussing before, that part of our taxes is going for the law enforcement, for the safety and security of the common taxpayer. But are, can we say that we are safe in our house? Can we say that our car park in our driveway is safe? Our kids are safe, and crimes are not increasing? I don't think this is right. Everything is going up, just like the inflation is going up, just like the cost of living is going up, and higher than that, the crimes is going up, and facilities is going down. Like, we used to get better transportation maybe 15-20 years back, but now there's more crowded, more congested, more traffic, everything, we are not getting, and our taxes is going increasing every single year. Our salary is not increasing, our
yeah.
income is not increasing. We are struggling. Majority of the people are struggling, and they are living paycheck to paycheck. Interest rate is going up. We have to pay more mortgage every month. On top of that, they are increasing the property tax. So in my opinion, if I would be elected as a councillor, I would, in very first day, I will say, tell to the city that I'm the elected member of my people living in Ward 6. So my people cannot afford any rise in tax. So I would recommend that city of Mississauga should freeze the property tax at least for 2 years, and it has been done by many town or cities in Ontario. So why can't city of Mississauga can do that? And if they need funds, they need money, there may be two options. Number one, they should try to reduce their expenditure. Number one. Number two, if they really need more funding, more money, they should try to look other avenue to increase the income, but not imposing more taxes on the people who are already struggling because of this COVID. That is my point.
Mhm. Uh, so, one of the cases that also, keeps Canadians and people of Mississauga awake at night is the economy and all of that stuff. Now, the Canadian economy is built on small businesses, and a lot of new businesses that started before COVID closed, and we see a lot of people, devastated. So I don't know. People are now trying to evade from creating new businesses, which was the spine of our economy. Uh, how do you think we can do better to attract those people who want to start their own businesses and they're afraid of to rethink about it or to give it a thought, and what kind of support we can give them if God forbid something like this pandemic happened? Because you know there was some support for the businesses, specifically small one, but it obviously was not enough to make them stand through the pandemic, and a lot of them lost everything. So what do you think about that?
It's a very good question. In my opinion, there are many factors of closing down the small business, as we discussed earlier, that unfortunately the big stores, just like Walmart,
Hmm.
Costco, Amazon, they are eating the small businesses.
Okay.
And unfortunately, government is not, you know, doing anything to save these small businesses, and not provincial level or federal level or city level. So uh, ultimately, thousands of small businesses are closing down, and you can imagine small businesses when they earn money, they make money, they employ the local people. The most of the money they spend locally, and they provide the, it generate money or funding, or you know within the town. But when we buy anything from Walmart, Costco, or Amazon, our money is going to the states or some other, out of town. So basically, this is the responsibility of the provincial level, federal level, and yes, city level also, that they should look into the matter. If small business are suffering, they should try to give them some kind of breaks in the taxes, and so they can breathe. Uh, I would definitely, if I'll be elected, I would definitely have a meeting with the small businesses along with the sitting MPP, and try to find out what are their issues, what they need, how we can help them. If we can do anything at city level, we will definitely recommend. If we need to recommend to the provincial level, I will talk to the Ontario government that these certain measures needs to be taken, otherwise this small business will close down, and ultimately the people who are working in this small business will go on the EI. So there will be a big problem for our economy, for everything.
For
So I
taxpayers
hope,
as well.
yeah. So that's my plan.
Okay, and now we know that a couple of years ago we have seen a lot that's happening around indigenous people and the crimes that has been, committed, the genocide that's happened to them. And a lot of new immigrants, when I talk to them, unfortunately, they say like, "Yeah, okay, that's bad, but we didn't do that." I mean, but that could be also for the newer generation of the that was the white people, because that's okay, they're ancestors, but they're not. But I always say, as a Canadian, you came to this land and you knew the history, or this dark part of the history. You might not be a part of the problem, but you could be a part of the solution, right?
Right.
And as an immigrant, we should know, because most of us came from discrimination in our own countries or from a lot of this thing. So we should work better towards helping Indigenous people and the welfare of Indigenous people. According to the census in 2016, I believe the city of or the Indigenous people population in Mississauga makes like 0.6%, while the city is named after them, like the Mississauga city named after, and we see that they are leaving. They're not feeling that they're safe in their own land and all that. What do we do, or what do you think we should do to improve the welfare of the Indigenous people?
Yes, it's a very concerning and very sad reality, and I believe that this is the duty of the all the people who came into the power, like city level, provincial level, and federal level. This is their duty that they should look into the matter. This is very serious issue, and as a counselor, like I would definitely try to engage all kind of governments and all kind of organization to to have dialogues, to find the solution, to arrange interfaith dialogues, and to have seminars so that people can be aware. Thousands of people, they even don't know what is going on. Until and unless we should admit the facts, we should talk about this serious problem. We should have seminars, awareness, and try to find the solution. It's not, Canada is a very rich country, very generous country, and very beautiful country. We are providing, you know, money, aid, everything to the Ukrainian people, to the other part of the world who are suffering. But at the same time, our own people are suffering, and we are trying to ignore or hiding, I would say. And that's unacceptable. As a
Mhm.
counselor, I would definitely at least can try that my ward 6 would be an example of better living in all kind, like all the people will feel safe, and quality of life would be better, and I would try to be a strong voice of everybody, including the indigenous people.
Yeah, speaking of helping our people, and this is going to be my last question, because uh, when I first came into Mississauga, and that was like late 2015, October 2015. I moved from Scarborough to here. I didn't see at the time. Probably I didn't see anyone begging for money in the streets. The past couple of years, mostly every street in Mississauga have someone comes to ask you for help or for money or something. Or you could see homeless people around, which I didn't see before when I first came in. This is concerning for me as a citizen. Like, we pay high taxes, and we expect that the taxes that we pay as taxpayers are going to help other fellow Canadians, right?
Yes.
Those who are in need. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't help people outside of the border, but yeah, we also have our people to help. And it's not that we cannot help them. It is very possible, but we see poverty line is becoming really high, and people are getting homeless and in need for money, in need for food. Last couple of months, there was a poll, and like more than 50% of Canadians are finding it tough to put bread on their tables. That includes people, of course, everywhere, and specifically in high populated population areas like Mississauga. Uh, I mean, I know this is not just the problem of the municipal, but it's across the political board federal, provincial, and municipal. But there are a lot of things that the municipality can do, like to prevent or to at least help with poverty, homelessness, and all of that stuff. What do you think we can do better as the city of Mississauga to help you know decreasing at least this problem?
It's a very good question, brother, and it's very alarming also, unfortunately. And there are lots of factors, in my opinion. The biggest factor is poverty is growing day by day. Number one, and why is growing? Because people are losing their jobs. Small businesses are closing down. Many people they are not able to return to the work. They cannot pay the bills because the cost of living is increasing day by day. The real estate is uh, going to the roof sky, and the thing is, rent is also skyrocketing. So if a common person is making $2,000, so can you imagine how he will or she will pay 1,800 or $2,000 as a rent? Then how he or she will feed himself or herself, and if he has a family or she has a family, how they will survive? There is not a possibility. So there is lots of things to be done at all level, municipality level, provincial level, and federal level. Are we doing it? I don't think so. Are we taking action? I don't think so. We are doing lip services. We are hiding the issues, and we can see the reflection on all the traffic lights under the traffic passes,
Mhm.
in different areas. And there are those, not all the people, but some people ultimately they will involve in crimes. You
Mhm.
know, if you lose everything, if you don't have anything, you will lose everything. So thing is if you have nothing to lose, you lose everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So in my opinion, there are lots of needs to be done. As a counselor, what I can do, I can tell you that I will definitely try to engage the organizations who are taking part in the welfare kind of things. Like Alhamdulillah, we are paying zakat in every Ramadan. So
Mhm.
we can talk to the mosque, we can talk to the churches, we can talk to the gurdwaras and mandirs and all religious organization. So we can plan better, we can have a system instead of sending the money to overseas, which we don't know where is going and whether is transparent or not. But we can first try to make sure that we are putting the food on the table of the Canadians.
Yeah.
So definitely, I will work on it, and at my level, and where if needed, I will engage the provincial level and the federal level also to resolve the issues. At least my riding, I would make sure that people will get the food and they will live better life.
Yeah, and it's important to mention that a lot of people who are facing poverties are immigrants, because
Yes,
many of them just came in and they started to build their life, and then something happened, and they start what we call inherited poverty. So because they were poor, their kids would have to work any job. They cannot get the education they want because they cannot afford it. So they
right,
just work in low paid paid jobs, or the minimum wage jobs, and they couldn't go anywhere from their jobs. And then they will have other they will get married and have kids, which kids will inherit their poverty, and this cycle goes on and on. And this is why I also believe that a representative from immigrants, from all immigrant communities, should be on all levels of politics, because these problems are facing specifically immigrants and some minorities. I don't want to name names. Some minorities suffer more than others, right? Because
yeah,
of a lot of political and the media, how they portray them and all of that stuff. So representation is very important.
Very important.
We
So I
have,
can,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt you. I
no,
can give you the example. It's a very good question, so I must give my
sure,
feedback
no,
that right now in city of Mississauga, we don't have any representation at all.
yeah,
Although there are thousands of Muslims, Canadian immigrants, they are living here, they are paying high taxes, they are voting, they are participating in the politics, but they don't have say, they don't have
yeah,
voice. So we don't know what is going on inside the city hall. We don't know what kind of, the we can do better for the our mosque, for our charitable organization, different poor people, because we don't have access there.
mm,
Once you will send a representative in the city hall, he will be sitting there, he or she will be sitting there. They know what kind of funding is being provided to different organization, and why these funding is not providing to certain organization or certain people, you know. So that is also a point from my side, that if I will go inside in the city hall, I will look into the matter and I will make sure that our taxes are being utilized properly, being channelized properly, just and giving to the right people, right organization, you know. So it can only be happen when we will send our representative inside the city hall, because we are the taxpayer who are paying them the taxes, and how the system works.
mhm. Well, it's funny you say that because today we were talking with some friends about a petition is going around for why are there in Canada, we're a sectarian country, but there's an exception only for Catholic schools to
Yes.
be fully funded by the government, and which happens in Ontario, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and some other territories. And everybody was saying like, why my tax money goes to fund a religious sect,
Yes.
but it cannot fund my. I'm fine if they don't want to fund any religion or religious sect, but why there's one exception, and
Yes.
it goes back to also representation, and as you said. We were just talking about it today, and it like came to my mind. Like this is why representation is very important
Very
because
important.
people are going to say like, "Why me? I'm living in this country. I'm paying my taxes. I'm a straight up citizen. Why is my people are not cannot be funded for these kinds of projects? And I believe this is really important. And another thing that's for the engagement, because I've been to many town halls. I mean, before COVID specifically, when we were having town halls and they invite people specifically. I mean, some before COVID, I started to see some people who are Arabs and Muslim coming, but when I started in 2016, the people who attend these things, you can rarely find Arabs and Muslims coming to those city halls, which means like when the candidates are looking and say like, even if there have thousands of them, but they don't come, why would I care about them, right? If they don't care about their city.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, one of the major factors that you mentioned is that we should get involved
Yes.
on both sides, like not just as candidate, but also as voters.
Yes.
You know?
Very important. Very, very important. I would say this is the essence of this, um, you know, program. I would say it's a very, very important, because why our people are most suffering, or they don't have their voice in the city hall, because we participating in provincial level, in federal level, and we are supporting different parties, whichever we like liberal, conservative, NDP, Green Party, whatever. And but it's very interesting that sitting MPP or MP, they are not able to solve your and my day-to-day problem, whether it's removal of the garbage, removal of the snow. is something happen, my basement is legal, illegal, or I need to have another access, another door from my house. I need to go to the city of Mississauga, or I have to open any small business, a small restaurant, something.
Yeah.
So all these kind of issues belongs to the city of Mississauga or any city. But we think that provincial politics is important, federal politics is important. In my opinion, the most important politics or forum in our day-to-day life is the city.
Well,
we
well,
uh, we as a Canadian immigrant must realize, must understand, and must know why we don't have representation in the city hall. If you go 100 years back, in last 100 years, not a single Muslim councillor has been elected in the city of Mississauga. Why? Because our people are more relaxed, sitting at home, watching TV, doing their own barbecue or something, and they don't bother to go to the polling station and cast a vote to the right candidate.
mhm.
If they will not do it, then unfortunately, we as a community collectively will be suffering and complaining, and not we, our kids will be suffering. So
Yeah.
I don't think you will tolerate that your kid will be suffering or my kid will be suffering. That's why I am running as a counselor, because I don't want to see that my kids will be suffering or your kids will be suffering. So I'm not running to get to make money or to get name and fame. I'm running to fight for the right of my people, to all the Canadian immigrants. They have equal rights and they deserve better life.
I believe this, as you said, this is one of the many goals of this show is to get people aware of the Canadian issues around them. All kinds of, as you said, all kinds of elections are important, but every one of them is for something. And when it comes to services and your day to day life, it's your city that takes care of that. This is why you should pay attention for this. Mr. Kamel, thank you very much for being with us, and of course, inshallah, you will be the next counselor for Ward 6,
Inshallah.
and let's hope that our people, as well as Arabs, as Muslims, and every Canadian of every background, gets more involved into politics, specifically city and municipalities, to understand how voting for city councilors could literally change their day-to-day life.
Definitely.
Thank you very much. If you have a last message for your voters, constituents, you can say it now.
Yes, thank you very much. I would request all the Canadian immigrants, all the Canadians who are living in Ward 6, and request that they should vote in next upcoming municipal election, because this is very important, not for us, but for our future generation. And they should go and vote on October 7th, 8th, 14th, and 15th. That is the advance polling. They should not wait till the polling date. Like polling is on October 24th. In my opinion, they should go and vote and register for the better life of their children. That's my point, message. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, and have a good night to you and to all our audiences.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.